I don't know if I have ever seen an instance in which Kirill Kaprizov, who scored his 206th career goal in this one tonight, got completely overshadowed. Not only did Bill Guerin acquire Quinn Hughes, but the 2015 version of Vladimir Tarasenko decided to stop by. Minnesota Wild absolutely obliterate the Washington Capitals and hold Alex Ovechkin without a shot on goal. They're dominating both sides of the puck right now. Power play, penalty kill, special teams, absolutely chef's kiss. Folks, this team's doing some things. Let's break this game down. There is a lot to discuss tonight. We'll take a look at the Quinn Hughes game number 2. More of the same that we saw in the first game. Filip Gustavsson, Danila Yurov, Vladimir Tarasenko, Kirill Kaprizov, Matt Boldy. Everybody in the club getting goals. 5-0. We're having fun. Let's fire it up. It's postcast time.
You are Locked On Wild Postcast, part of Locked On Minnesota on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
The Minnesota Wild went wholesale belt to rear end against the Washington Capitals tonight. 5-0. The Wilds get the win. And this is going to be a regular occurrence, I guess, for me down the stretch, is just be kind of speechless as to what we're seeing from this Minnesota Wild team. They get single goals in the first and the second. They crack the game completely open in the third period, but even though they had the 2 goals in the first 2 periods, the game was pretty well in hand by that point. The offense, you've got 5 or 6 guys that are playing at just peak levels right now. The special teams has been righted. The power play looks much, much better. And we might have a new top line combination, because 2015 Vladimir Tarasenko pulled up to Grand Casino Arena tonight and he said, I got this. He said, I got this. So it looks like I have a full season of crow to walk back regarding Vladimir Tarasenko, because if the Wilds can get even a percentage of what he did tonight, Lordy. Let's dive into the numbers here tonight. I have several points saved that Denny brought to the chat here so far tonight that I want to dive into for this one. We'll take, of course, your comments as the show unfolds. But just looking at what the Wild were able to do tonight, they generated 3.14 expected goals. They scored 5. So Charlie Lindgren, normally good, was below average as far as goals saved above expected go. The Wild had 48 unblocked shot attempts tonight, 35 low danger, 10 medium, 3 high danger. They scored 3 low danger goals, a medium, and a high danger. The Wild scored tonight in 5-on-5, power play, penalty kill. All of the above. And Quinn Hughes is on the ice for 3 of the 5 goals. As far as the defense goes, it's a Washington Capitals team that has Alex Ovechkin and a lot of quality depth. So it's not like the Wild were playing, it's not like the Wild were playing a below average team. The Capitals were in the 3rd spot in their division. The Capitals generated 3.03 expected goals. Filip Gustavsson stopped every single shot, 43 unblocked shot attempts, 30 low danger, 8 medium, 5 high danger, no goals in any capacity. And again, let me point out, Alex Ovechkin did not have a shot on goal in this game. And I'm about to read you one of the craziest stats that I have ever seen. So bear with me on this. Since Kirill Kaprizov and Alex Ovechkin came into the league, since entering the 2020-2021 season, Kirill Kaprizov and Alex Ovechkin were tied for the most goals by a Russian skater in the NHL. Kirill has now broken that tie. Kirill Kaprizov has more goals since he came into the league than Alex Ovechkin does. Now, I know Alex Ovechkin's on the back nine of his career, but still one of the prolific goal scorers in the league, and Kirill Kaprizov has more. Kirill Kaprizov also tonight moving into second place all-time in Minnesota Wild goals with 206. Of course, it was a power play goal. He now has the most power play goals in Minnesota Wild history. And does anybody else get the sense that Kirill Kaprizov has found a new jolt here? Found a little bit of a second life, second wind, compared to where he was even just a couple of weeks ago. I'm telling you, folks, Kirill Kaprizov playing at this level, Matt Boldy playing at this level, Quinn Hughes playing at this level. I don't know what to do with my hands. I don't know what to do with my hands because we're in rarefied air here. We are in rarefied air. Let's look at some of the notable performances here tonight. How about the game that Danila Yurov had this evening? Not only did he score, not only did he have a 3-point night, 10 of 11 in the faceoff dot. 10 of 11 in the faceoff dot. Absolute legendary performance by Danila Yurov. And as far as a name for the Kirill Kaprizov, Danila Yurov, Vladimir Tarasenko combination on the top line, how about Russian roulette? Thoughts? I mean, I kind of dig that. Because think about it. You're playing with fire anytime that combination comes on the ice. And not only that, but Matt Boldy with another goal on the penalty kill. 19 goals on the season for Mr. Boldy. But I want to get to a point. Denny made a great point in the comments. And this was echoed by others as well. Some of the contributions that these Iowa guys are giving are incredibly valuable and important. How about Nick Abe-Kubel in tonight's game? A couple of shots on goal. He had a hit. Tyler Pitlick, same thing. Multiple hits for him. Couple shots on goal. Couple of blocks. Those guys are playing some good minutes, fourth line for this Minnesota Wild team. And it seems like they're gaining more confidence probably by being part of this group that is absolutely just fully energized by the Quinn Hughes trade. Those guys are playing great. So let's give Billy some credit for the depth additions that he made this year to the roster. Abe-Kubel, Tyler Pitlick were brought in as kind of those AHL, NHL guys. But listen to what we got, considering the fact that Damon Hunt played just 3 minutes and 44 seconds in tonight's game. Brock Faber and Quinn Hughes both had assists. Brock was +3. Quinn Hughes was +2. Jared Spurgeon a +2 tonight. Matt Kiersted, another Iowa depth piece. He had 3 shots on goal, played 16 minutes. He was an even par as far as the plus-minus goes. David Juracek, +1. Couple hits as well. Everybody up and down the lineup. And Kiersted had an assist as well, as Denny points out. Great call. And the thing about this is this team is missing Jonas Brodin, Jake Middleton, Matt Zuccarello. Marcus Foligno came back tonight, and I believe he was able to get through the game, but I know at one point he was kind of in some discomfort on the bench. And Damon Hunt, you're missing 5 pretty key pieces. 4 for sure. Damon Hunt still has very good defensive depth, though, so I would consider that a key piece. 5 guys out of the lineup, and you are beating the tar out of your opponents 11-2. And Zach Bogosian, thank you, Matthew. You're beating the tar out of your opponents. The Wild have outscored their last 2 opponents 11-2. They have not surrendered a power play goal in either game. They have scored 3 power play goals in that span. Folks, I covered 2021-2022 when the Wild had what I call the tidal wave offense, where they just hit you with waves and waves of scoring. But this feels different. Now, it is 2 games into the Quinn Hughes tenure, but just look at everything that has changed since Quinn Hughes got brought in. Up and down the lineup, it seems like everybody has a new lease on life. Every single player. And you just see the effect that having a guy like Quinn Hughes in this lineup can add. By the way, once the postcast is done tonight, recorded an absolute banger of a crossover with Locked On Canucks that I will post as soon as this is done. I was going to get to it today, but just ran out of time with the World Junior preliminary series. The Mavericks were playing Team Switzerland tonight. So I had that going on. So didn't have a chance to post that earlier, but that's being posted the moment this is over. Absolute beauty of a crossover with Locked On Canucks, who was in the comments section earlier tonight. If you want to keep an eye on the likes of Marco Rossi, Liam Ogren, and Zeev Boyum, Locked On Canucks will have you covered. So I throw my full endorsement behind what they're putting out. Make sure to give them a follow. I mean, at this point, so Filip Gustavsson had another shutout. The Minnesota Wild have, in the first 34 games of the season, they have, 8 shutouts? 7-8 shutouts? If you would give me a task, point to something that is not clicking right now. I can't. You're getting solid rushes by every single lineup. Every single line in the lineup. All the guys on defense are playing great. Goaltending's been outstanding. Power play is disgusting. I nearly vomited watching the highlights of Quinn Hughes running that top power play tonight. I nearly vomited watching that out of pure joy. Just this, you know what this is? You know what this is? This is the offense of 2021, 2022 and the goaltending of 2022, 2023 rolled together. You remember that 2021, 2022 season where the offense was really good. It was deep. We had Kevin Fiala. We had Kirill Kaprizov, the Kaprizov-Zuccarello-Hartman combination. You had that as kind of the anchor point of your offense, but the goaltending was suspect. Cam Talbot had, he racked up a bunch of wins. Peripheral numbers not great. The goaltending the next year after the scoring fell off. Filip Gustavsson, a Vezina candidate. Marc-Andre Fleury actually he played well that season too. It's those two seasons rolled into one. You have depth in the lineup now. You're getting good production. Danila Yurov continues to grow before our very eyes. Wagon. There's nothing else. There's nothing. Oh, I love this so much. 2021 was more shock and awe. This year it feels more Hines-like. Grind you into dust and break your will. That is an astute. That's a great way to put it. It's a great way to put it. And this feels like something that can be built off of. So it can get better. Thanks, Jack Rick. Great astute observation, quality add to the post game. Thank you. See ya. So let's just run through the stats here quick, then we'll take a break. We'll go more to your comments, some of the things that still need to be. Will Bill Guerin make another move? I tend to think so. I mean, just look at this stat card right here. The Wild had more shots on goal. They scored for the second consecutive game. Quinn Hughes is one of the first players in Minnesota Wild history to record a point in his first two games of his Wild career. The Wild handled the faceoff circle. More importantly, Danila Yurov handled the faceoff circle. Blocked a ton of shots. Just ran. They just ran the Capitals off the ice. They just ran them completely off the ice. And yeah, we were worried about secondary scoring. Oh, yeah. The last two games are about as good as it gets. The only thing that I really would like is just some good news on the injury front. Yes, this is the exact show. This is the exact show that tried to run Vladimir Tarasenko out of town. To be fair, I was not the only one. We just didn't see it consistently. But if he can be even, he's probably not going to be this every night, but if he can even be 70% of this, that's enough to make a major impact on this roster. And that's what the Wild were trying to get when they acquired him. We just haven't seen it consistently. If he does this more often than not for the rest of the season, he's going to get a full bed of roses from me. So maybe Tarasenko's been unlocked by the jolt of energy that Quinn Hughes has brought into town. These last two games are about as good as it gets. To quote the iconic Jack Nicholson movie, this is about as good as it gets. So just goes to show you that when everything is clicking, this is all of the Oregon Trail wagons all hitched together. This is a fleet. What do they call a fleet of covered wagons back in the 1800s? Would they just call it a fleet? I don't know. I don't know if that's something that I really need to be worrying about right now. But a lot of good things going on. Thank you, convoy. It's a convoy or a caravan. These all work. Wagon train. The Minnesota Wild are a certified wagon train. They're a certified wagon fleet, a caravan, a cavalcade, all the peripheral numbers. We have 251 people in here right now. So here's what we're going to do. Let's hit that like button. We're going to sneak in a quick commercial break. And then with the rest of the show, we'll get to some of your comments. I have one in particular. What's next? What is coming up on the docket? And I want to update. There was an update earlier today on the injury situation. So I want to circle back to where we're at with some particularly injured Minnesota Wild players. Hit that like button. Hit that like button as many times as the Wild scored goals tonight. A 5-0 romp. 5-0 romp over the Washington Capitals. We'll take your comments after this right here on Locked On Wild. Today's episode of Locked On Wild is brought to you by FanDuel. NFL Sundays move fast. One big play and suddenly everything just feels different. That's what makes live betting with FanDuel so exciting. You're not just watching the game, you're reacting to it in real time. With FanDuel, you can place bets as the action unfolds, every drive, every momentum swing, every highlight moment. If you'll recall, I said Kirill Kaprizov anytime goal against the Washington Capitals. Check. As a fallback, Matt Boldy, anytime goal against the Washington Capitals. Check. Vladimir Tarasenko, check. Danila Yurov, check. There are a lot of good options for this Minnesota Wild team right now. And with the Columbus Blue Jackets waiting in the wings, let's run it back. Let's run it back and let's send everybody home happy. So if you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. FanDuel, the game moves fast, and so can you. Tonight's postcast also brought to you by Indeed. You just realized your business needed to hire somebody yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Well, that's easy. Just use Indeed. When it comes to hiring, Indeed is all you need. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other sites. Indeed sponsored jobs put your post at the top of the page and help you reach the right candidates faster. And as somebody who was looking for a job a couple of summers ago, the sponsored job posts are the first ones you see. That's what pulls your eyes in, and that's what helps you try to find that next career leap. Now you can speed up your hiring process with a $75 sponsored job credit. Just go to Indeed.com/lockedon right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need. Minnesota Wild absolutely trounce the Washington Capitals 5-0. They're now 29-5 on the season. They're 12-3-4 at home. Hey, remember what it was like to have a winning record at home? 12-3-4 on the season at home. I didn't think that we would ever get back to having a good record at home. So let's talk about this. What is next? Is there enough left for this Minnesota Wild team to make another move? Well, if we look at what the Wild have as far as the asset train goes right now, they have first-round picks in 27 and 28. As far as prospects go, if you're looking to make another acquisition before we get to the salary cap, you're looking at guys now like Riley Heidt, Hunter Haight, Rasmus Kumpalainen. As far as the offense goes on defense, you've got Jack Pert, Carson Lambos, David Spacek. Those are probably the next core of prospects that you are going to deal from. Unless you elect to move somebody off the roster. But at this point, feels like the only way that you do that is if it's really, and good on the comment section pointing out Charlie Stramel and Adam Benak too as possibilities to be traded. But that's the point, is that's the next group of players that you'd be looking to move from. I've seen some suggestions that Filip Gustavsson could be on the block to get you another scorer. That's an emphatic no from me. We are 34 games into the season. You've got 40 plus left. You're going to need both goalies. You're going to need both goalies to get to where you want to go. Ryan Hartman as a potential trade piece to free up a little room to bring something back. That certainly would be a possibility. Filip Gustavsson also has some trade protection. Me? I haven't disclosed this yet, but I do not have trade protection. So I don't know. I don't know what to tell you, folks. Maybe I am on the block. Here's what I think this does. I think what's going to happen next is Bill Guerin is going to wait to see what the team looks like after this. After everybody comes back, he's going to wait and see what the roster looks like at full capacity. So while I think I think it's likely that Billy's going to do something else, it probably is going to be a while before that happens. And look, you made the big one. You got the big one done. You got Quinn Hughes in the building. You get him now for the final 48 games of the season. Technically for him, 50. So you get a chance to see what this looks like as you get closer to the trade deadline. So there's possibility. I mean, it depends on how big you want to go. But keep in mind, again, if you are looking at a Sidney Crosby, the price is going to be high there. Unless he just says this is where I want to go. Could you imagine that after all the campaigning that Locked On Avalanche have done to try to get Sid? So I'll just say this. I think it's going to be a little while before we see another trade, because I think Billy now wants to just see how this group gels, what it looks like when they get everybody back. And honestly, I'm fine with that. I think at this point, see what Quinn Hughes can do for this roster. And, there's going to be a response. There's going to be a response by the Avs. There's going to be a response by the Stars. Oh, wait. About that. The Dallas Stars are they're kind of up against the cap. And they have a couple of pieces that are out long term. So Dallas might not be able to do much of anything at the trade deadline. As far as the Colorado Avalanche, they've got a little space to work with. It's going to be fun to see because now you are the team. You're the team with the target. You made the big splashy acquisition. You're the team with the target. And now the rest of the Central Division and the rest of the West are going to they're going to take a peek. They're going to be peeking to see what translates out here by the end of the season. As far as other questions go here, my DMs are getting flooded. I'm being told if Tage Thompson becomes available, that's another one that's kind of a needle mover. But what are you going to give up for him is my big question. You don't really have that centerpiece trade. You don't really have that centerpiece player, because I would be willing to bet that if Tage Thompson does become available, you're going to have to give up Danila Yurov. And I don't know if you want to do that. It is Tage Thompson, but at all that we've seen from Danila so far this year, I kind of want to hang on to him. Like, I kind of want to let him continue to percolate, continue to develop. Monkey business. I'll check on Jack at Locked On Blackhawks. They're a mess. Without Connor Bedard, he was accounting for basically 50% of their scoring. So that's miserable. But look at the results here tonight. The Utah Mammoth lost, so the Wild have padded further their hold on the third spot in the division. Colorado is currently deadlocked with Seattle at 2-2. The Wild have a 10-point lead with a game in hand over the Utah Mammoth for third in the division. The Dallas Stars currently do have Tyler Seguin on long-term injured reserve. So the reason that money is not counted is because he would have to be put back on their roster in order to be used at the end of the season. But I would get the sense that they would want to do that. Now, Ryan O'Reilly, you could certainly get. That's probably more in your range for a future first and maybe a prospect. So that's probably something along those lines for the next move, unless Bill Guerin just says, no, we're pushing all the chips in. We are pushing all of the chips into the middle of the table. And honestly, if he wants to do that, if it means a legitimate run into Stanley Cup, he can go right ahead. He can go right ahead as long as it's not Jesper or Yurov. Those are my two off limits. And the obvious guys. I don't want to trade Matt Boldy. I don't want to trade Brock Faber. So anything outside of that, go right ahead. Pittsburgh is a bit of a dumper. Who would you want from them aside from Sidney Crosby? See, that's the thing. I mean, they've lost 6 in a row. They are just in free fall. They blew multi-goal leads. They blew 3 or more goal leads in 2 straight games. Outside of Crosby, I mean, Brian Rust is playing okay, but is he really a needle mover? Anthony Mantha as a wing, he's got 10 goals in 32 games. Is he really he's not really a needle mover. Sidney Crosby is the only needle mover on that roster other than Evgeny Malkin, but he's been injured. So, and also the fact that any sort of a move like that would require somebody to be moved off the roster. So Quinn Hughes was the big centerpiece ad. There are ways to finagle. adding another piece, but I think this is the big one. And look, that's good. It's a good big trade to make. So we'll have to see. I'll put some time in. I'll put some time in looking at potential options. Denny has put in some extensive work on potential options as far as trade goes. I'll take a look at some pieces that could make an impact. That's the thing too, is you don't want to have another Brazo situation. You don't want to have another Gustav Nyquist. Like, you want somebody to come in and to play a role and to have an impact. If Mason Marchment is available, sure. But you want somebody to come in and to be able to make an impact. I don't want somebody that's just going to come in and be a body. So I'll have to do some looking at that. But I think that's going to wrap it for tonight's postcast. So how about everybody hit that like button on the way out? Again, we'll have that Locked On Canucks crossover episode coming up shortly after this is posted. But Minnesota Wild absolutely, they Donnybrooke'd the Washington Capitals tonight. We hit a new record high as far as live viewers on tonight's postcast with 297. So smash that like button, and we'll have an episode tonight. We'll have an episode tomorrow. We'll have all the episodes all the days, because the Minnesota Wilds are a wagon, and I guess that means that Locked On Wild is too. So thanks, everybody, for spending some time on your Tuesday night with us. Minnesota Wild absolutely bully the Washington Capitals 5-0. We've got more episodes on the way from your home for Minnesota Wild hockey, the Locked On Wild podcast. We are your team every day.